So the subject of the shiur today is the Omer. The Torah tells us in Sefer Vayikra, in Parashat Emor, we're going to get to it soon, in chapter 23, verse 15, the Torah tells us like this, Usfartem lachem. You should count to you, mimaharat Shabbat, from the morning, or the right thing to say mimaharat, after the Shabbos. מיום אביאכם את עומר התנופה, 7 שבתות תמימות תהיינה. The Torah commanding us that after the morning of the Shabbos, and Hazal teach us what it means the morning of the Shabbos, ממחרת השבת, after the Shabbos, sorry, not the morning of the Shabbos, after the Shabbos. Hazal in Gemara Masechet Menachot, page 65, folio 2, tell us, from that it says ממחרת השבת, teach us that after the Shabbos, what is the Shabbos? It's Yom Tov. What Yom Tov? That's referring to Pesach. That means after first day of Pesach, in South Africa we celebrate 2 days in a diaspora. In Israel they celebrate 1 day. That means that Pesach fall on the 15th of Nisan. On the 16th of Nisan, when we start counting the Omer, we should bring the korban. What is the korban? We should count. So from here, raise 3 very important questions. Question number 1, what is the Omer? What is the Omer? Do we understand what is the Omer? The second question is, why it have to be a specific korban? And we're going to explain what is it made from. And number 3, why is the Torah commanding us to count 7 weeks? That means to count 49 days. Because on the 50th day, that's Shavuot, נכון? You all agree with me? Is anyone that doesn't agree with me? Baruch Hashem. Anyone can help me? You listen to the shiur today. So, what is the Korban HaOmer? On the pshat of the dvarim, the Korban of the Omer come to allow us to eat the new grain of the wheat, what we call Hita Hadasha. That means one that we sacrificing the Korban HaOmer, on the 16th of Nisan, we can eat what we call Hadash. Because until now, we can eat only the Hita Yeshana, the old wheat. But after we sacrifice the korban of the Omer, we can eat the new wheat. Everyone understand? Because there is a say that it's called here in South Africa, they call it Yoshin. Everyone know what is Yoshin, no? So now it's come to allow us to eat. You don't know what is it? Okay. Until we're not sacrificing the korban of the Omer, okay, we're not allowed to eat from the new wheat that grown up. That's mean. If there is a new wheat that grown up, if you not sacrifice the Korban HaOmer, you cannot harvest the wheat, you cannot grind it, and you cannot make from it anything. You cannot make bread, obviously, pasta, and etc. You follow? Anything that have to do with that. Sorry, who? Akon here?
When did that period start?
When is that period start? So, you see, in South Africa it's different. But in Israel, when they usually planting the wheat? In the winter, just at the beginning of the winter. Because they want during the winter that the rain going to fall, and that wheat will grow. And then when they harvest it? In the spring. When is the spring in Israel? In Pesach time. You understand? That's when it starts, the spring. Yes, Simon, sorry.
Prevents us from making matzah from the new harvest.
Nachon.
Why is that?
First of all, let me explain to you something very important. The matzah, they prepare it. You know when they prepare the matzah? Matzah get prepared, if I'm not mistaken, the matzah get prepared even before Hanukkah. Before Hanukkah.
That's if,
For sure, before Hanukkah. So they usually use the old flour.
Yes, they have to.
Yeah, For sure.
But why is that?
Why is that? Because
You can't use the new.
we cannot use the new until we bring the Korban Omer. You follow? Now, let's go first step by step. Who asking? No one. What is Korban Omer? So we say it's come to allow us to use the new wheat. What is it made from? So I'm going to explain how they used to make it. In a time that Beit HaMikdash was exist. That means the Sanhedrin. Everyone understand what is the Sanhedrin? The Sanhedrin, those, the judges, the shoftim, the people that judge the Jewish people. If they have any question, they go to them. The Sanhedrin choose a field close to Beit HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, that for a year, nothing been touched on that field, that it's never been harvested, never been plowed, nothing. They leave it alone for a year. After a year, they take that field and they plant in that field a half barley and the half they leave it open. That means empty. That there is nothing inside the field. Imagine to yourself, close to Beit HaMikdash, they're making a special field, that field going to be strong, that can bring a good crops, and they plant a half of it with barley, a half of it with now. In the 16th of Nisan, the Sanhedrin go down to that field, and they harvest barley. That barley, when they harvest it, is green. They harvest asirita efa. Asirita efa, the measure, the volume of it, 1 kilo, 560 grams. That means that's what you obligated from that to do afrashat hala. Nachon, ladies, you know. Once that they harvest that barley while it's green, they take it and they put it on a pen. In Lashon Hazal, it's called abuv. They put it on that pen that made from copper, and they roast the barley until it's become brown. Then they take the barley and they ground it. Once that they ground that barley, they sieve it with 13 different sieves. And we explained last year why Dafka 13. You remember why Dafka 13? No one remember, so I'll tell you. Hazal tell us, and the Zohar bring, that the person until the age of 13 is full of Yetzer Hara. When the Yetzer HaTov stuck to him? On the day of the Bar Mitzvah. So, the barley that represent the evil inclination, you'll understand now why I'm getting to. That we sieve the barley that represent this evil inclination with different 13 sieve. Why? That we try to get rid of the evil inclination. Now, Hazal tell us something very important. Hazal tell us that the barley is a very, 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 very cheap sacrifice. Why? If you take 1 kilo, 560 ground barley, shouldn't cost you more than 10 rand. Because if a kilo of a flour that made from wheat doesn't cost even 10 rand. 1 kilo I'm talking about. So imagine 1 kilo, 500, 1.5 kilo, 1 kilo, 600, it's rounded, shouldn't cost us more than 10 rand. Why is it so cheap, that sacrifice? We have to understand. So to understand that, now we're going to explain why is it made from barley. Why the korban made from a barley. So Hazal tell us in the Gemara Masechet Sotah, in page 9, folio 1, and Rashi also explained that the barley, it's a food that you feed the animal. Rashi, Sotah, Masechet Sotah, Gemara Masechet Sotah, page 9, folio 1, Rashi there explained that barley, that's the food that you feed the animal because it's cheap. So, what's the connection? I don't understand. We still have to understand. So to understand that, we have to go a bit more deep. And I'm going to bring two explanations why dafka from barley. that it's cheap. The Zohar HaKadosh explained like this. The Torah commands us to bring Korban HaOmer, a sacrifice that made from barley, that called Korban HaOmer. You know why? Because that's the food of the animal. And Bnei Israel, when they left Egypt, they didn't receive the Torah until they reached to Mount Sinai. And there was like an animal. To teach us that people that have no Torah, they're like animal. Why? Because a person that doesn't have Torah doesn't have the menu. A Torah is a menu. Without a menu, how do you know what to do in your life? How do you know how to conduct your life? How do you know when you're allowed to do certain things, when you're not allowed? What's considered stealing? What's considered lashon hara? What's considered gratitude? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the Torah.
What about Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? They didn't have a Torah.
Did you hear what our friend Jules asked?
Others as well.
Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov didn't receive the Torah.
Plus everyone.
Not only until Mount Sinai, no one received. No. Rabotai, help me here. You see, when Mr. Jew come, he doesn't shoot, you know. He sends missiles. But Baruch Hashem is not the missile from Iran. It's a Jewish missile.
Because they were all extraordinary human beings.
Oh, that's exactly. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, not only that they knew the Torah, they kept the Torah even shebe'al peh. Not the only oral Torah, also Torah shebe'al peh. How do we know? You remember that when we done the shiur on Pesach, what did Avraham Avinu say to his wife, Sarah? Mahari, lushi, shalosh, se'im, ugot. He didn't say bread, because that day that the angel came to visit him after the circumcision was Pesach. So Hazal tell us that the forefathers was a different human being. They knew the Torah. The others,
The 12 tribes. There's 12.
the 12 tribes also, because they was the children of Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu taught him. But if you look, for example, take the Dor HaMabul, the generation of the flood. They didn't have Torah. You see where they reach. The generation of Dor HaPalaga, that they built the Tower of Babel. The generation after that, when Avraham Avinu born, when was Nimrod, Kedal Omer, that they was worshipping idols. Until Avraham Avinu came into the world, and he was the first one to stood on one side and say, how can you worship idols? So the Torah tells us that the main reason that we bring in that to remind us that until we received the Torah, we was exactly like an animal. What's the difference between us and an animal? If you don't say a brocha, what's the difference? We eat, the animal eat. The only thing that sanctifies us, and we sanctify HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how? But that we're different. That we saying a brocha before, a brocha after. We're thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu. An animal cannot give tzedakah. You agree with me? By that you giving tzedakah, you show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we're trying to act exactly like Him. To try, to achieve, to act, and to be like Him. What does it mean? His mercy, He is full of compassion, we also. And on and on and on. That's according to the Zohar HaKadosh. But we have to understand, why Dafka such a cheap? Not for nothing the Torah tells us cheap. Especially on those days, that we're mourning for the student of Rabbi Akiva. So the Midrash on Vayikra Rabbah in Parashat Emor. Hazal tell us, לעולם אל תהי מצוות העומר קלה בעיניך, שעל ידי מצוות העומר זכה אברהם אבינו לירש ארץ כנען. That means, Hazal tell us, the mitzvah of the Omer should never be light-headed in your eyes. Why? Because in the merit of the mitzvah of the Omer, Avraham Avinu merit to receive Eretz Canaan, the land of Canaan, that's Eretz Israel. Because in that time, the Canaanite used to live there. So, what is the connection? So I saw a beautiful commentary in the book of Bikurei Aviv, and he explained like this. Many people can come easily to mistake and say, you know what? This mitzvah of the Omer, it's a very cheap mitzvah. And he become headless or flippant about it. He wouldn't take it seriously. He will think that this mitzvah, it's a very cheap mitzvah, it's a light mitzvah. Why should I bother with that? So Hazal tell us, dafka because of that, I want you to bring that mitzvah now. Why? To teach us that you can never tell the value of the mitzvot. Because we don't know what each mitzvah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu value. Maybe in our eyes, it looks like a cheap mitzvah. Sorry to say that. But in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the mitzvah of the Omer have a lot of value. Why? Because in the merit of Bnei Israel bringing the Omer, that's mean when I say bringing the Omer, counting the Omer, from the day that they left Egypt until they received the Torah on the 6th of Sivan, the merit to enter the land of Eretz Israel. Hazal tell us also in the Midrash. So it's come to teach us something very important. Not to be heedless about mitzvot that look to us very light-headed. Because we don't know the value of each mitzvah. Hazal come to teach us something very important, especially in Yemei HaOmer. That those days, it's time that we can do repentance. And how? And now I'm reaching to the final, the cherry of the top. The Torah tells us to count 49 days. You know why? Why after 49 days? Why 49 days and not 50 and not 60 and not 70 or not 30? Whatever the case is. Why dafka 49? And that will help us to understand. When Bnei Israel was in Egypt, Rabotai, they reached down, right down, to the 49 level of impurity. The Zohar tells us. What it means 49 level of impurity? There is 50 gates. 50 different level of understanding. And Hazal tell us that the 50th level is the Sha'ar HaEmunah. What it means Sha'ar HaEmunah? The gate of belief. And Bnei Israel almost reached that. You remember we spoke of that on Pesach, when we spoke about Pesach. That if Bnei Israel would stay in Egypt for another few minutes, they will reach to that level of Tumah, to that level of impurity. HaKadosh Baruch Hu immediately took them out of Egypt. So if they reach to the 49 level of Tumah, of impurity, every day was a day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked us to get purified from one level of Tumah until we reach to the 50th day. And on the 50th day, we can come completely pure. And if you're completely pure, you can receive the Torah only then. You understand? Why 49 days? But that's not the end. What do we do on Shavuot? What sacrifice we bring? Korban shti alechem, the two bread. What did it used to make from? Wheat. Wheat, human being eat. The Torah come and tell us, now that you purified yourself, now that you become completely pure and you can receive the Torah, you consider a man. And if you consider a man, you can also bring a korban that human being can eat from. And that's the wheat. And that's the secret of the Omer, Rabotai. Every day in the Omer, we uplift ourselves. Some people doesn't. But the Chochmah in Omer every day to uplift ourselves. If you see at the counting of the Omer, you see Sfirot on the side. Netzach, Hod, Tiferet. What is all of that? That to take us from one level to upper level, to upper level. And Hazal tell us, Rabota, listen to that. In Rambam, the Rambam said that the days it's the Omer, the 49 days of the Omer, those like the same days of Chol HaMoed. They have the same kedusha of Hol HaMoed. Do you understand what is Yomei HaOmer? They're so holy that we can reach to a higher level if we work on ourselves. That if a person want to purify himself, we have 49 days. We just have to work on it. And when is the cherry on the top? On the 50th day. That's the day, the 6th of the Sivan, when we receive the Torah. And how do we know that it was? Hazal asks, what does it say? Hashishi. Where does it say? Yom Hashishi. And a creation. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, what did he say? Yom Hashishi. With Hey HaYediah. Usually we say, Hayom Yom Ehad, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi, Yom Revi. When it's come to the 6th day, we say Yom Hashishi. Why Dafka Hashishi? HaKadosh Baruch Hu make a condition that if Bnei Israel going to receive the Torah on the 6th of Sivan, I'm keeping the world. If not, if they're not going to accept my holy Torah, I'm turning the world back to what it was before, to Tohu Vavohu, Chas v'Shalom. And that's the secret of the Omer. That we're getting ready and we purifying ourselves. We're working on ourselves. No more faribo. No more hatred. No more jealousy. To work on ourselves, to bond ourselves, to reach to the higher level. And we see that during the Omer, we're mourning for who? For the student of Rabbi Akiva. Why Dafka the student of Rabbi Akiva? Because the student of Rabbi Akiva being punished because they didn't speak one to each other with the right manner. What does it mean? We don't know. 24,000 students sitting, maybe they didn't speak to each other with appropriate manner while they were studying. To tell us, Rabotai, those days, they're very important. You work on yourself, speak to your fellow friends. Make sure that you treat them with respect. Make sure that you're not jealous, no faribo, no fighting. That's the most important. And Be'ezrat Hashem, if we should all just take a moment, think about it, bring it to our attention, and put it in the front of our eyes and say, listen, whatever days that left from the Omer, today we count, for those that doesn't know, the 26th. Today was the counting of the 26th. So if anyone missed, just to remind them that he can still count the 26th. I specifically don't say 26 for what, so you can still count to those that didn't count. Work on yourself. We have just less than a half of the counting of the Omer until we reach to Shavuot, to work on ourselves, to correct our deeds, and to try to achieve the higher Madrega. And Be'ezrat Hashem, if we do that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon.